Safety in any field of human endeavor must be paramount, especially safety in the aviation sector. Just like in every other facet of the nation's economy, adherence to safety rules and regulations must also be prioritized. In order to ensure discipline and adherence to safety protocols in the aviation sector, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has suspended operations of one of the airline's fleet. The suspension was issued through a letter dated July 12, entitled Suspension of Parts of A3 and D43 of the operations specifications issued to airline with immediate effect. As a result, the affected airline is expected to suspend with immediate effect the operations of some of its aircraft in their fleet. The NTA listed several occurrences that involved the Boeing 737 aircraft in the fleet of the airline that necessitated its action. The aviation regulator in the letter said it had constituted a team of inspectors to conduct an audit of the airline, adding that results of the audit must be found satisfactory by the authority prior to considering the restoration of the operation specifications to the organization to further operate the aircraft type. All these are to ensure the safety of everyone and ensure that all forms of operations are done with safety in mind. On Nigeria Today, we shall be providing answers to questions like what are the exact reasons for the suspension, to what extent will this action further promote safety in the aviation sector, what are the safety measures that airlines are expected to put in place before operations, what are the safety conditions that could guarantee and sustain an airline operation in Nigeria, what level of monitoring and supervision is in place to ensure compliance. I am Eucharia Clinton, and this is Nigeria Today. Welcome. Joining me in the studio is the Managing Director and CEO, Northeast Regional Shuttle, Bello Ahmed Al-Kadi. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And also with us is a regular on the program and also an aviation expert, Godi Ike.
Thanks, thanks a lot.
I always love it when I see that smile on your face.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Godi. Can you, we're talking about aviation safety here. Can you just give us an overview of the Nigerian aviation sector and as it regards to safety?
First of all, I think we need to understand that the nature of airplanes, they are very faithful machines. I'm laying this foundation so that we can understand issues of safety when they come out. Airplanes are built well. They are very, very faithful machines. In my opinion, the reason they drop off the skies is because human operators can be very unfaithful and dishonest. That's why. Generally speaking, before anything goes wrong in an airplane, the airplane tells you because of the kind of awesome technology they got there. You get information about virtually everything well in advance. But if you do nothing about those, a time comes, the airplane gives in and gives up. And then that's when you begin to have crashes on your hands. Now, in all fairness to early operators in Nigeria, especially in the days of Nigeria Airways, we were known. When I say we, I'm talking about Nigeria, and then the defunct Nigeria Airways, as the safest airline in this entire world. Our safety records were unmatched by any airline in the world. Unfortunately, we very irresponsibly let down the airline, and the airline went down. And that's why we have this on our hands. So having said that, let me say that still, if you look around what's going on around the world, I don't know whether to call it luck. We're quite lucky. We haven't been having incidents and
yes, for some time we've not had any fatality. You can't call that luck. There must be something we are doing right.
That's correct.
Yes.
So that's why I was careful in choosing my words. So Now that we're beginning to see signs that all is not as well as it should be, it's time to really sit up and begin to do the needful to ensure that it doesn't degenerate into some ugly incident that we don't want to see.
Okay.
So that would be my take on this. Generally, to tell you the truth, NCA has been doing quite well.
We are doing well so far.
Generally.
Okay,
yes.
I love that. That's good news. So, Velu, we just talked about suspension of an airline. Now, can you please? I know you've been in the system for a while. So, can you just tell us what were these will I say the rules or regulations that were flouted that led to this suspension?
Yeah, it may not be generally a law that was flouted, but the role of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is regulatory. An operator is operating. His machines could develop some problems from one time, the second time, the third time, they had to come in. They come in to say, okay, fine, what is going on here? We need to audit you to find out and understand, are you really following the rule? Like my colleague here rightly pointed out, the aviation sector is sophisticated in the sense that whether we like it or not, it has to have the best safety practices because we don't have a parking spot in the sky. You have an equipment that is really sophisticated, that really takes people from the ground up, and you expect that aircraft to fly from point A to point B safely. So whatever you are doing, you have to be exceptionally good in maintaining these airplanes. The regulatory authority, like you pointed out, is trying to prove to Nigerians that it's doing its job. Okay. Why did I say that? An operator is operating. There has been a first incident. There is a second incident. There is a third incident. You don't allow the fourth one to happen because the fourth one may be catastrophic. So all the NCAA did in this aspect of this airline that was grounded recently is simple. They had the first incident, they had the second incident, then they had the third incident, and they say, okay, fine. Could you find out what is going on? And that's why we are here today.
Now, we're talking about incidents. We had the first one, had the second one, had the third. Why allow it to even get to the third time? No, I'm talking about the airline because we're talking about safety here.
Yes.
No, can you? Okay. Sorry, can God come into this?
Oh well, to tell you the truth, it doesn't follow that anytime any little thing goes wrong in the airplane, you quickly ground the airplane and say, oh, no, you don't fly anymore.
I'm asking because you rightly said that the airplane is faithful, but the operators are not they're unfaithful.
And sometimes very
so why allow it to get to the second, third?
Well, so look at how it works. Airplanes have scheduled servicing, and some of them are time-based. Some are usage, man-hour usage, based. So generally, if an airplane, for instance, a brand new airplane that runs for a required number of hours in order to be due for an air check, for example, if that air check is done, it is assumed that everything that needs to be done to ensure the safety of that airplane has been done. Now, that does not follow that for some technical reasons, one little thing can just go wrong, and a smart pilot who gets the message, because the plane will tell you. That is the lovely thing about that machine. It will tell you. Now, a smart pilot does not go on taking the risk of, oh, come on, let me manage. There's no management in that. So what he needs to do is to get permission to turn around and come and land, depending on where it's nearer, at the point at which he noticed the problem. If he has another 40 minutes to go ahead, but has 20 minutes behind him, then the 20 minutes is shorter. So he makes a 180 degrees and you know, and return to base. And so if he makes that return, now the job of the likes of our own NCAA, because around the world they are called different names, you know, depending on which country and what name they choose. But ours is NCAA. Now, their duty is to find out why you made a return and didn't complete your trip. And then if the sea is just a routine glitch somewhere, you know, something really minor, it doesn't call for trouble. You let the engineers or technicians, as the case may be, fix the thing, and the plane goes back on air. Always safe. It's a very faithful machine. Now, so my imagination would be that NCAA had seen 1, 2, and then a third one. Is it a repeat of the same thing or something new? And that would call for, yet again, a smart regulator to say, hey, come on, let's take a look.
You hold on there.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a break. Hold on there. Okay, I get it. Now, we're going to take a break, a short break here, but the conversation will continue shortly. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that our questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. It is still Nigeria Today, and my guests are with me, Bello Ahmed Alkali and Godi Ike. Now, a report reaching us says that NAF has confirmed the crash of FT-7NI trainer aircraft with no loss of lives. Pilots ejected before crash. Gentlemen, this is, it's a crash, but at least good news, no lives were lost here. Now, Bello, I'll ask you with this one. Now, what are some of the challenges that are, you know, being, that the airline operation in Nigeria experienced that you think could jeopardize the aviation safety?
Well, at this point in time, I will say we have challenges when it comes to acquisition of forex, for people to take their airplane out for either C check or D check, buying spares of these airplanes. We don't have much good workshops around that could handle our airplanes here. Yes, we have some facilities that have been certified, okay, to handle these airplanes, but there are some major checks that probably you have to send these aircrafts out. Even if you are doing it locally, you really need foreign exchange to buy these spare parts because we don't produce spare parts of aircrafts in Nigeria. This is one of the major challenges operators are facing. Outside that, believe me, I must say I have to commend our local operators with the way they are handling things compared to the time he was mentioning of Nigeria Airways. He was involved with a lot of airlines. At that point, you're talking about Cabo, Okada, Oriental, Harka, ADC. We have seen a lot of situations whereby aircrafts are robbed in the ground to just rob an aircraft, go and fix it in another aircraft for it to fly. Today, you cannot do that. So all our airline operators are strictly following by the book. Whatever the regulation says about maintaining their airplanes, that's exactly what they are doing. I feel very comfortable, even though I stayed in the United States for 8-9 years. By the time I got back home, I realized what has been happening is different from when I left it. So I feel comfortable to fly. I mean, come on. I enter airplanes that are extremely smooth, well-trained pilots and engineers that are actually top-notch. So somewhere along the line, like I said, we need to have a situation whereby the government will come in to support airline operators, especially when it comes to issues of maintenance of airplane. These are equipments that are really dollar-based. There is no way you can handle maintaining of airplanes without having access to Forex. That's one of the major issues that airline operators are facing in this country.
Now, Godi, as much as we say we have challenges in the aviation sector, you will also agree with me that for some time we've not had any kind of serious, fatalities, major incidents, apart from these ones we just, got now. Of course, no life was lost, which is a good news, like I said earlier, Ron. Now, what is it that we are doing right that should be sustained? In terms, I love that.
Oh, well, if there's anything that really, or any body that should be complimented for the safety so far, give it solely to NTA Air. Give it to them. It takes a whole lot of discipline to deal with issues of aviation. A whole lot of discipline, and if you don't have it and if you don't understand it, you can always be fooled, and at the end of the day you lose track of what you're supposed to be monitoring, and then something goes wrong, and then we have some very fatal incidents on our hands. Now, yes, the airlines also are doing the best that they can under the circumstances they found themselves here. The only sad part that which I experienced during the last, FAN annual conference, when I saw the idea that based on the shortage of Forex, as he rightly mentioned, and the fact that our airplanes need to have the best maintenance schedules and activities in order to ensure safety, that we needed to create. Because as a researcher, I have taken time to look through successful airlines around the world and what are they doing, how are they doing their things in order to really ensure that people fly. I found out that there's no airline, no matter how big and how so-called worthy, that can really sustain that business depending on just passenger flow that is up to 80% capacity minimum at all times. If you don't have those in place, be sure you're going to be running at a loss. And so schemes. We need to, first of all, I have recommended, it doesn't seem anyone is listening, we need to have airports in all the states of the Federation. Somebody say, oh, how are we going to manage this? I say, okay, here you go. India has about 360 airports and airstrips. They want Indians to fly. They want everybody to afford flying. Well, what's going on? There is interconnectivity scheme developed. Hold on, I'm coming to you. There's interconnectivity scheme, and then there is what is known as cross-subsidization scheme. We can create a brand new body, which was what I was recommending the other day at the conference, and somebody really got angry that I said, oh, you should take 40,000 for just one-way trip and stuff. I say yes. We can do cheaper
than that.
Yeah, yes, we can develop
cheaper than that.
Wonderful. Now we can develop a scheme that ensures that all airlines operating in Nigeria get the best servicing of their planes without really touching that ticket money that they rake in. we can also create that another scheme within the same fold that ensures that all the pilots, because it's hard work, piloting, hard work, it's not an easy work, that they get paid, you know, properly in order to be encouraged to continue to do their very torturous
I'll have to
job.
stop you there to allow Benny to talk about how possible can this be to, you know, reduce the cost of flying.
Well, like he said, there has to be a kind of a support system.
Yeah,
if we have the support system from the government, I hate it when I always mention from the government, but we are not there where we could say, okay, please, government, goodbye. We'll get there. It takes a while.
But then, you talk about the government. What about the private sector? Where can they come in here?
Yeah, you have like consultancy firms in other climes where they handle airport operations, they handle airlines, they handle even as fueling, catering. They now form consortium where such things that he is talking about could be handled. I mean, it's very easy. It's not anything difficult. But you see, the problem with Nigeria is everybody wants to be the boss. I am an owner of airline. I wouldn't want the other person to be the owner of the project we are handling today. We need to have synergy. We need to have cooperation between the airline operators for us to sit down and now say, okay, fine, forget about fuel supply. We have the capacity. I mean, if you can buy an aeroplane for $150 million, why can't we have a synergy? Why can't we have a consortium that will get us fuel at a cheaper rate? The cost of ticket today in Nigeria, I want to believe, is because of the cost of the fuel. The fuel has just skyrocketed beyond anybody's imagination. So whether the operator likes it or not, there is no way he could charge the 40,000 he is suggesting for him to break even from flying from Abuja to Maiduguri, which is about 1 hour, 20 minutes. So at the end, if we have a consortium, we have synergy, we have cooperation amongst the operators, they could form alliances, they could form organizations that could handle their project effectively.
Oh, okay, now just shortly before we go, Godi, now I'll go back to the issue of the aviation safety. Now, what should be the role of stakeholders, you know, to ensure safety in our aviation
We've said
sector?
it all. I don't know what else you want to hear.
I want to hear more.
We'll
want to hear more.
We'll say it all. Our colleague has also added flesh to the skeleton I was putting together. Elsewhere, you have organizations that are there to help, that do what is known as preemptive servicing, and you know, power by hour kind of service. I'm sure you know this.
Yes.
Power by hour service. Yes, hour. In which case, airlines at every point in time, know exactly what their cost would be for a particular period, because they're not going to be worrying about, oh, if this engine breaks down, what do I do? Okay. If that breaks down, you know. So those kind of preemptive servicing, the organizations that are being paid some token from the ticket takings, and they are just a form of it, a special type of insurance. You know, we come in and say, hey, Mr. Kali, this particular plane of yours, even though it hasn't started making trouble, we want to do some preemptive stuff to ensure that it doesn't make you that trouble that will happen tomorrow.
That's right.
You know, I had spoken to 2 chief executives of the 2 biggest airlines in this country on this issue, but I tell you what, Eukarya, no one is listening. We're averse to new ideas, and until we begin to accept and have value for ideas, Japanese say, good thinking, good product.
Thank you so much. And that's it on Nigeria Today. We take this time out to appreciate our guests for sharing their thoughts and their time with us. Godi Ike, an aviation expert, thank you so much for your contribution. And also to you, Bello Ahmed Al-Kali, Managing Director, CEO, Northeast Regional Shuttle. Thank you so much for your time. Hope
Always
to see
welcome.
you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And to our viewer, thank you so much for always being a part of this. Remember, the program Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Victoria Clinton. To have a restful weekend. Bye-bye.